The battlefield is set. The stakes have never been higher. This is the critical debrief on Battlefield 6.
You know, after the pretty troubled launch of its predecessor, this isn't just another game. Nope, this is a high-stakes mission for EA to reclaim the franchise's honor. The pressure is absolutely on to deliver, both with the critics and with sales. All right, let's deploy to the primary combat zone, multiplayer. The first field reports are coming in. Time to analyze the intelligence. Okay, so initial reports from GamesRadar confirm a layered and, a carefully crafted experience. The key takeaway here, though, is that they played it a bit safe, choosing to refine what already works instead of pushing for big innovation. It's a solid strategy for sure.
And TechRadar seems to agree, reporting the multiplayer is nothing short of electric. They're really praising the return to that classic class-based play and the amazing variety in the maps. Sounds like this is really where the game shines.
And this right here, this is a major victory. PC Gamer confirms that the weapons handling is a huge step up, even saying it's right up there with its biggest rival. And for a shooter, nailing that satisfying feeling of gunplay is absolutely crucial. And the positive impressions just keep on coming. Notebook Check highlights the return of that signature destruction, a huge fan favorite plus a solid core experience, movement that feels really good, and maps that just look and sound great. It really seems like all the pillars of a classic Battlefield are in place.
But look, a victory on one front doesn't win the whole war. So let's move on to the single-player campaign. The assessment here is, well, it's a little less decisive.
So according to GamesRadar, while the campaign is visually impressive and varied, the story itself feels pretty familiar. We're talking about common military tropes and characters that feel like we've seen them all before.
In fact, their final verdict on the story couldn't really be more blunt. When they summed it all up, their response was basically a big shrug. That says it all, doesn't it?
TechRadar's intelligence backs this up, calling the narrative predictable. They did, however, concede that despite the weak story, there are still some genuinely enjoyable combat moments to be found in the campaign. So, a small silver lining.
Every major operation is going to face some friction, and the initial deployment for Battlefield 6 revealed some pretty significant technical challenges that you just can't ignore. During the open beta, GamesRadar reported a whole host of issues that created some serious turbulence at launch. I'm talking massive login queues that kept players from even getting in, severe server strain causing lag, and critical shader compilation errors. That's the kind of stuff that can sour a first impression and fast.
So, with all the intel gathered from the front lines, what is the final assessment? Let's break down all the critical reception and see the full picture. The consensus really paints a picture of a game with a split personality. The multiplayer is a decisive return to form. It's refined, satisfying, and a clear win for longtime fans. But that strength is really counterbalanced by a forgettable campaign, a lack of true innovation, and some serious concerns about launch stability. So the final analysis is this. A stellar multiplayer is fighting a war on two fronts, against a forgettable campaign and a pretty rocky launch. The debrief is now in your hands. So what do you think? Is Battlefield 6 the comeback EA really needed, or is it just another hype train?